All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank everyone for being on today. This is Charlie Castro. Most all of you know me. I'm looking at the screen here, seeing who we have on today to get on these webinars before. We're doing something a little bit different, and this is what we're going to be doing really throughout 2016 and probably beyond. We've decided to launch a YouTube channel. In the past, we put our webinars online. We've only done that sporadically. But going forward, what we're going to be doing is we'll be doing less email blasts, less webinars, and focusing more on our online content. These will be short videos. We'll be posting these weekly. They'll cover our current inventory, news, trends, interviews, and so on. It's sort of a hybrid of our blasts, webinars, and the radio show, sort of in a standard format that you can view at your convenience. This is our first show. It'll be posted on our channel, our YouTube channel tonight. It'll be sent out to everyone that's on this webinar, and for those that registered and did not attend or could not attend. When you get the video, please subscribe. You'll see a YouTube invitation below. It'll have a button that'll say subscribe here. If you push that little button and subscribe, from then on you'll be notified automatically when we post a new video. So the purpose of this and why we're doing this is for a lot of reasons that we're going to talk about. There's been some issues with regards to some of the tapes that we send out and then getting reblasted out and sort of papered all over the internet. And so that's one of the reasons. What you're going to see on these presentations, we're going to focus solely on what inventory is available. What you're going to see today is a snippet of what we have available. I'm going to try to stick to what's available for that particular week. We'll be doing these at least once a week. I can see doing these once a week for about 20 minutes. They'll be short. You'll get the idea when we go to the presentation what it's going to look like. Will we have guests? Yep, we're going to have some guests on occasionally. I got my contact information here on this slide. I gave a couple different numbers out, both my direct line, my business line, as well as my cell where you can text me. And I'm going to use this opportunity this morning to sort of go through what our protocol is going to be going forward, how we can best serve you. If you're a broker, I'm glad you're on today. We have some things to talk about in the broker network. Some of the goals we have for this process is simply this. We want to streamline the buying and selling process. We want to be able to introduce weekly inventory as it becomes available. We want to give you a visual of what it looks like. We are no longer going to be mass emailing out full lists, and there's reasons for that that I'll talk about later. Lists will be made available by request. So we're going to do these YouTube channel visual presentations. You'll see the inventory that's available. I'm going to show you in a minute how it's going to work. You'll contact us once we understand the legitimacy of the buyer, and we will then send you out the tape. We're trying to eliminate and wasting time for both buyers and sellers. I'm going to talk about that in detail, what I'm talking about. We also want to be a hub for information, what's going on in the market. You know, Phil and I are very fortunate. We talk to buying and selling parties all the time. And one of the agreements we've recently been able to come to is with auction.com, the biggest auction house in the country. Have asked us to provide them with inventory to auction off. We have some very powerful relationships. However, we're starting to hurt ourselves by making these tapes public, and again, I'll talk more about that. But we want to be able to be a place where you can go to get information on what's going on in the market. I'm going to provide a visual not only for inventory but also for protocol. A lot of folks don't understand the protocol on each tape, so we're going to talk about that each week, what the protocol is. Now, we have a piece of paper and a pencil out because we're going to be, when we do these YouTube webinars, we're going to have inventory on the screen as you see here. You'll notice down in the bottom left-hand corner there's a number, and that number relates to that tape. Now, why are we doing that? If you see that, if you check out our YouTube channel and you see a tape or a property you're interested in, you want to reference the number. And we're doing that for a lot of reasons, but mainly for my sanity. I get offers all the time from people. They'll send me hey Charlie, I want to make an offer at 1122 Main Street in Jacksonville, Florida. And that's great. That's awesome. The only problem with that is, what tape did it come off of? We have multiple tapes. We are very fortunate to get new inventory in, sometimes daily, but certainly weekly. And I appreciate the compliment to the content of my intellect, but I really don't memorize all of these addresses in my head. So if you don't tell me the tape, I can't find out where the offer was coming from, and therefore I can't help you make the offer. So every one of these tapes are now going to have a number. So when you get the tape, it'll have a number. If you're interested, for example, in the tape I'm going to discuss now, you'll say, Charlie, interested in the Jacksonville, Florida tape, number 101. And that's the tape that they will then send you. So let's go through some of the current available inventory. This tape has 12 single-family properties on it. They're all in Jacksonville. The seller has discounted these down to $29,000 a door for this webinar. These prices will only be good through Monday. We're going to hold all these prices, what you're going to see today, through Monday, the ones that are specifically priced. These can be cherry-picked. You can make offers on these. The strike price is $29.9 a door. That's pretty firm, but they will listen to offers. These are all rented, newly rehabbed. There's a total of 87 on this tape. So if I were to send you the tape, the whole tape, you'd have 87 properties on it. Now, not all of these are finished. They're not all rented. They're all rehabbed. Some of them are vacant. Some need a lot of rehab. Some need carpet and paint. It's just a mixed bag of nuts. Tape number 101 is Jacksonville. It has a total of 99. We're specialing these 12 today at $29.9 a door for these rented rental turnkey properties. The next 5 tapes you're going to see is coming to us from a REIT. Okay, so this is a fund. And this is one of the reasons why we can no longer just blast these out, because the funds have gotten onto the fact that and they mass blast them. And we can't allow that to happen anymore, which is the reason why we're not sending these tapes out any longer. We've gone to the YouTube method of advertising these instead. You're going to see is owned by one fund. They own a total of about 250 properties. Some of the other markets they have is St. Louis, Corpus Christi, Texas, Baltimore, Chicago, Indianapolis, and so on. They have a bunch. I'm going to show 5. I'm going to profile 5 today. Tape 102 is 28 properties, again, in Jacksonville. These properties are all rented and rehabbed. There will be a few that are vacant, but they would be what's on what they refer to as the turn. In other words, they may have gone vacant, but they will rehab them, put them back in rent-ready condition, and then sell them. They have asked us to offer off the Zillow price. I know that's crazy. Yep. Take the Zillow price, base your offer off the Zillow price. Now, I'm not a big fan of that methodology, but that's what they've asked us to do. We don't have strike prices on these, so they will take less than Zillow, but you want to use that as your guide when making your offers. Again, case number 102 is in Jacksonville, Florida. It has 28 properties. These are owned again by a fund. Same owner again. These next 4 you're going to see here are from the same group. They've got 25 also in Birmingham. The Birmingham ones, when we did the Zillows on these, if you look to the far right, this tape here, these are pretty strong properties. These are solid B-class properties. I've sold probably more properties in Birmingham than any place else over the years. And I know by just the zip codes what part of town these are in. These are in solid, deep quality rental markets. So they've got some really strong properties. You can also tell they're by the square foot. If you notice the square foot, you got, for example, the first one's a 5-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,700 square feet. For Birmingham, that's a big house, $950 rental. Zillow's got it at 86. I'm not going to guess what you can get those for. So I'd be willing to bet in a market like Birmingham, you can probably buy those at probably 70 to 80% of that $86,000 number, maybe even less. Protocol on these, I should point out, are all going to be the same. I should just get to that right now. On all these 4 tapes here, tape number 101, 102, all the way through 106, the protocol is all going to be the same. You need to submit a letter of intent. You need to submit proof of funds. And you need to be able to, go to the closing table. These are all tenanted, so don't ask me for access codes. You cannot get access codes to these. You have to schedule an inspection. You're not going to get into the properties until which time you just submit an offer. Again, Georgia, there's 7 properties in Georgia because of the size of the screen. We were able to get all 7. This is all they have in Georgia. But again, these are all, I shouldn't say that. The first 3 or 4 are solid B-class. The ones towards the bottom, I know those areas. Those are probably more of a C-class area. But you can probably get those at a pretty good price too. But again, those are all owned by this trust. Memphis, Tennessee, again, these are solid. Now, we Zillowed these as well. These are some solid properties, especially the first. Well, no, really, all of these are pretty solid. These are not C-class properties. These are solid B-class properties. You can see the rents there, $1,195, $995, down to $700. But these are solid B-class properties. By the way, they prefer to sell. If you can cherry pick the market, but they prefer you not to cherry pick the tape. Now, that's the official statement that they've said to me. They'd rather, for example, if you're going to buy Memphis, maybe you got to buy all 6 of these or all 5 of these. I'm not sure that's 100% accurate. Just being candid, I think if you submit a decent offer and you want to cherry pick 2 or 3 of them, I think they'll listen to that. They want to get out of these markets, and they do want us to be aggressive in marketing these. And then finally, Dallas-Fort Worth. There's only 3 properties in Dallas-Fort Worth. You can see the quality of the products there. All these, I checked these right before the webinar because we get a lot of questions about Dallas. Dallas is not a market where you find a lot of good, solid rental inventory that's reasonably priced. These will probably go pretty quickly. These are all solid, big type quality properties. These are all tenants. All these tenants are currently in the property. So you notice there again, all these had a number on them. If you're interested in Dallas-Fort Worth, for example, you request case number 106, and again, the protocol on that would be submit letter of intent, proof of funds. It's a soft letter of intent, by the way. You're not You're not married to the properties until you do your inspections and do your due diligence, but they won't get the party started until you submit a letter of intent and proof of funds. Okay, but a couple things in Birmingham. We went out there and we asked some folks, you know, would you be interested in throwing some stuff on our first YouTube webinar, which I did get some takers on that, so we got some stuff that's deeply discounted. The first one is a single-family property. It's in Birmingham. It was purchased and rehabbed fully in July of 2014. It's about a year away from being rehabbed. I have seen the pictures. It's beautifully done. Hardwood floors throughout. The roof, the electrical, the plumbing is all brand spanking new. It's got a Section 8 tenant, $750 a month. The Zillow's $52,000. The $29,900 price is pretty darn firm. I don't think she's going to come off of that. She's had a little bit of a situation that's cost her some grief. She wants to liquidate this before Christmas. That's a solid rental property at $29,900. She paid the tax. I should point that out. She paid the taxes for December of 2016. So for the next 12 months, you just got property management fees and insurance. So your cap on that's going to be well over 20%. If you want the photographs and the information on that, that won't last very long. Just give me a call. That is case number 107. Now, this is a little bit unique. We're seeing more of this, where you're seeing some owners willing to do some seller financing, carry back some paper. This gal owns all three of these properties. All three are Section 8. The caps come out to a little over 13%. These are as well in Birmingham. She's willing to carry back. So what she'll do is she'll do a 30% down with percent interest only for 5 to 7 years with a balloon at the end of that period of time. But she's very flexible. She's willing to. She wants to actually carry paper back. That's her desire, is to finance this for somebody. So for as little as 30% down, you can get into it. What terms you come up with regards to financing is sort of open. If you want to make an offer on that, and you want to just submit something to me in the form of an email, I can present it to her, put you on the phone with her, and you can negotiate. This is a private seller, by the way. This is not a REIT. I do not need anything fancy on this type of stock. I just need an email that said, Charlie, this is what I'd like to do. I'll take that back to the seller. I know these folks personally, so you got to bring me the offer, and I'll take it back to them and present it, and then we can get on the phone directly with the seller and make. Now, Detroit, I'm getting a lot of this stuff. We actually just contracted 250 properties in Detroit. They were all between $2,500 and $3,500 a door. These are great to flip. So if you know flippers or people looking to do flips, this is a great type of inventory to do that, which you can buy it so cheap. Now, this is tape number 109. However, I've got 3 of these types of tapes in Detroit right now. Nothing over $5,000 a door. Nothing lower than $2,500 a door. Some are in great neighborhoods and some are in not so good neighborhoods. Yes, you can cherry pick these tapes. Again, these are great tapes to take and flip. Matter of fact, the group that we just contracted, that's exactly what they're doing. They're buying it and they're flipping. Matter of fact, they got a buyer already set up to do the flip on the turn. That is tape number 109, but inquire about other properties in Detroit if that's your market. I've got 3 groups, 3 properties, or 3 groups of properties from the Park Street group. These are folks who do business with on a regular basis. They are a small fund located in the Pacific or in the Northeast. They've got 3 different tapes. These are all the properties on these tapes are located in the same part of the world. They're in Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. The first list is 24 non-performing notes. The fair market value on those is about $1.1 million. The unpaid balance is $763,000. I'll point out right now on all 3 of these tapes, the sellers are motivated, and those prices are very negotiable. The tape number 110 is 24 non-performing notes in Michigan, Ohio, and Indiana. The second list is 82 REOs, same states, but they're 82 REOs. Fair market value is $3.2 million. I have a pretty good idea what they'll take for these. You can get those if you're interested in REOs in that part of the world. Just contact me, and I can give you what I believe the strike price is. It's significantly less than $3 million. I can tell you that. That's tape number 111, and then the last list are performing notes. So they're just Michigan and Ohio. I think there's 1 in Indiana. There's only, I want to say, about 15 of these, but there's performing notes in Michigan, Ohio, and I think there is 1 in Indiana. But those are performing notes. Again, same seller, case number 112. Again, all 3 of those can be cherry picked. All will listen to any offer that's reasonable. This is not a REIT. It's not a fund. So I don't need formal paperwork on this. I just need an email with an offer or just an invitation to talk to the seller. You're more than welcome to talk to the seller. Phil and I try very, very hard to be direct all these selling parties on these tapes, so we don't hide behind a curtain or a wall. If you want to talk to the buyer, you can go to the seller route. You can talk to the seller. You just got to make sure that your buyer, if your buyer, is legitimate. Okay, I invited a whole bunch of brokers on here today because I see an issue that's going on in this business right now that's causing some heartache for some people. And so I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about what's kind of going on out there. And I've got 2 slides. I'll do it briefly, but it's incredibly important. The first thing I want to express is if you're a broker, we want to work with you. We want to work with you. I can't say that emphatically enough. I'm told by brokers every day now that it's getting harder and harder to get deals done. This is true. It is. Buyers now have a different approach than they did even 6 months ago. And the intermediaries and brokers need to adapt to that. These buyers have figured out that in many cases when they get a tape, that tape comes in a chain. I have had heartburn this week, and it's only Tuesday now that I think about it, on 2 different tapes that were mine. One that I got this morning, and I'm not going to call the individual out who did this. He did return my phone call this morning, but he took 3 tapes that I am direct to the seller on. All 3 of these tapes are funds, larger funds that have trusted me and Phil to market these tapes. And he plastered these on the internet saying that he was direct to the seller. I called him up and said, hey, are you direct? Yeah, I'm direct to the seller. No, you're not. You took my email blast, word for word, copied my language down, and then resent it out. Now, let me tell you what this is doing. If that gets back to the fund, I'll lose the tape. Anybody that's out there that's doing that needs to stop doing it because it's causing heartburn for everybody, including people that legitimately get tapes. Now, if you want to market our tapes, as I've told you, I have no issue with that. But you have to call me because if I get a call from a fund that says, Charlie, so-and-so just sent me my own tape. Did you give it to him? I need to be able to say, yeah, I did. And he's an idiot for sending it back to you, but that's not the point. I did at least provide him with the tape. The intermediary network needs to work closer together. The industry is consolidated. Everybody knows everybody, and some of the names that are doing this, people already know. I'll say to somebody, hey, I got a tape for you. It's in your buying area. Are you interested in looking at it? Yeah, did you get it from so-and-so? If you got it from so-and-so, I don't want it. The industry already knows that. You're not doing yourself any favors by taking these lists and pretending that you have direct access to it when you don't. It's causing a lot of problems. A warning. Be aware of the new generation of flippers, not the traditional flipper that buys a house, fixes it up, and sells it. The people that want to take your product, put it under contract, and then try to sell it. For those of you that are trying to do that, I can already say that the sellers out there have already figured out what's going on there. If you're going to take a property and you're going to put it under contract and then try to sell it, if you don't sell it, you don't close on it on the A to B transaction. I had one of my larger customers, a fund. They provide me with REO tape every month. They told me yesterday, no more signable contracts, not doing it anymore. So if you're doing that stuff, you need to stop doing it because the selling community is getting onto it. It just isn't going to work anymore. Be leery of people out there that are doing those flips. Now, what I suggest, what protocol be with brokers is number 1. We've invited you to join our YouTube channel. We've invited you to come, giving you out my contact information. If you'd like to market our tapes under certain conditions, we can discuss that. But when you get a tape, what I would ask you to do is ask who the seller is and how far you are removed. There's a couple people on this phone today. We had this little conflict yesterday. I submitted some orders from a buyer, submitted it to the seller, and then I found out there was at least 4, maybe 5 people in the chain. That doesn't work. You need to understand your buyer's protocol. The number 1 thing I tell people is when they come to me and say, I've got a buyer they're looking to buy, I say, okay, well, what are they looking to buy? Well, they want properties in Atlanta. Okay, well, what kind of properties in Atlanta? Do they want vacant? Do they want rehab? Do they want turnkey? Do they want freshly, brand new off the assembly line? Do they want REOs? What's their price point? You need to understand your buyer's protocol. I can help. Let me back up 1 second. As many of you know, I worked with hedge funds for about 4 years. All my clients were hedge funds. What hedge funds did was they would send you their buying criteria, and they specifically told you what they wanted to buy. And my job, really all it became was understanding what that was and then going and to find it. I understand how that works. If you tell me what your criteria is specifically, I can help you. If you send me an email that says, I've got a buyer that wants $10 million of REOs in Florida, that tells me nothing. I need to know what areas in Florida, what price points in Florida. I need to know what they're looking for. Know your buyer's criteria. Stop stop mass blasting tapes out. I can't say that enough. If you've got legitimate buyers, bring them to the table, but don't mass blast tapes out. Have your agreement in place with your buyer. People always say, well, who pays the fee? Now, I will say, in some cases, the funds that I work with will pay me a fee. If it's a larger tape, 100 properties, 200 properties, typically they've got a fee built in there for me, so I don't need to get paid from your buyer. But for the most part, it's not hard math to figure out that if somebody's buying a property, 100% of the funds, the the total universe of money is coming from the buyer. So fees need to be worked into that. So when you talk to me about a tape, make sure that you have the fee part figured out. Be willing to put your buyer and the seller on the phone. I've got a good friend of mine. He markets offshore. I love this guy, but he's still continuing to do the old-fashioned thing of, I can't let you talk to my seller. If the seller can't talk to the buyer, you're not going to get a deal done. It's just free advice to folks out there. If you haven't protected yourself with your buyer or seller and can't put them on the phone with the other party, you're not going to make many deals. And most of the buyers that I work with now, first thing that they say, are you direct? And if I can't say I'm either direct to the seller or direct to the seller's broker, they're not even going to bid on the tape. Buyers are wasting too much time bidding on tape they can't get access to. You have to make sure you're direct to that tape. And you've got to be willing to put your buyer on your buyer and or seller on the phone with the other party. And then finally, you got to be okay with getting out of the way. If that means you got to paper up, if anybody wants to send me their NDAs, non-competes, all that, I'll sign all that stuff. Nobody has any desire to circumvent you from your buyer and or your seller. But if you cannot be transparent and pull up that curtain that's hiding somebody behind it, if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to get many deals done, because I'm telling you guys, the buying community out there and selling community has figured out this business has become a bit of a chain, and it's becoming very problematic for people. Last slide. We have approximately 1,400. These are just some various different tapes we have available. And I've numbered all these. No, we didn't number these. My apologies. We should have numbered these. We got a tape of 1,400 REOs all over the country. You can get these really cheap, 50, actually less than that. Some markets you can buy these at 30, 40 cents in the dollar. There's 1,400 of them. I get this list every month, at the beginning of the month from this group. They can be cherry-picked. They're all over the country. So if we know your market, we know you're looking for REOs, we've got and all you got to do, by the way, we have a database now. If you email me, I send that to Matt. I say, Matt, these are the zip codes we want, or the counties we want, or the cities we want. We'll customize you a tape. We just won't send you a tape of 1,400 properties. We'll send you a tape customized for exactly what you're trying to buy in that area. We just need to know what areas you're trying to buy and what type of property you're looking for. We've also got 63. This is a tape. 63 properties in southern part of Georgia. They're asking a little over $3 million. It cannot be cherry-picked. If you're looking for a tape in Georgia, a full tape, we have one available. We have a couple actually available. I mentioned the Detroit distressed properties already, so that's for being redundant. The Atlanta 118, primarily occupied. We originally marketed that tape as being a vacant tape. Most of the tape is actually now occupied. I've got the rental amounts. I've got everything from the seller on these. They can be cherry-picked, but you got to buy at least 25 of those. So that's if you're looking for Atlanta inventory, both vacant and occupied, we do have a nice tape in Atlanta. Now, I'm going to take questions. I was going to open up the microphones, and I'm still tempted to do that, but we've got a big crowd on. So if I open up the microphones and somebody's doing their dishes or somebody's talking to somebody or multitasking, we're going to get a bunch of background noise. So I'm not going to open up the mic. What I am going to do is I'm going to ask if you have questions. So look to the right of your screen. You've got a dashboard there, and there's a little button there that says questions. In there, you can type in your questions, and I'll be glad to answer those questions for you. And my first question is, do you have a target range of percentage of market value the sellers are looking for? I'm not sure I understand. If you have a target range or percentage, oh, what percent? Okay, got it. Okay, the percentage. Okay, the percentage that you would offer on any tape depends really on the tape. For example, on tapes, typically you can offer the 40 to 70% range, depending upon the market. If you're offering on some of those stabilized tapes, you know, you're going to probably need to get closer to, you know, it's really market dependent. It's really hard to say. But for example, if it's a diamond tape, it's Florida, California, Arizona, Nevada, Texas, New York, New Jersey, you know, you've got to get closer to 75, 80%. We had a bank tape last week. Some of you know this. We had a ton of offers on it. As it turns out, by the time we got to the selling party, which was a broker that was contracted with the bank, it was actually Wells Fargo, as it turned out. The message I got back from the broker was, Charlie, these things are getting bid up to 70, 80, 90% of value. That's a good footnote I should bring up. So I'm looking at my screen now. I see who's on here. There's a number of people on here that have clients. If you have clients looking to buy bank tapes, let me tell you what the environment has been the last several months. It used to be the Freddie Mac tapes or the bigger bank tapes. You could buy those for, depending upon the market now, 50 to 80% of value. If it was in California, it was closer to 80, 85 of value. That's changed. I mean, the market's really rebounded. You know, these banks now recognize that if they can't sell something at an auction or they can't sell something you know, through a bulk sale transfer, they can put a for sale sign in the front lawn and get, you know, pretty close to their asking price for it. They know that now. So I'm not sure if you know, offering that 70, 60, 70% of value range is really a market that's available right now. I could be wrong, but I think that, you know, you've got to look at this market for what it is, which is it's not what it was in 2008. It's not even what it was at the beginning of this year. At the beginning of this year, I was getting Freddie Mac tapes that were deliverable that you could buy at 60, 70 cents on the dollar. In some markets less than that. You can't do that now. It's just not available. Okay, Charlie, what is the pull fee on each property? Okay, what are fees on each property? Great question. We negotiate fees on every tape individually. I'll just give you an example. Let's use the REO, the nationwide REO list. That's 14 more than any other tape. There's small transactions, typically anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 price tags. It's real simple. You get your seller to send your buyer rather to send me an offer. Let's just say it's $40,000, and I say to you, Adrian, how much do you want for that? Well, I want $500 in fees. Okay, I want $500 in fees as well. I go back to the funds and I say, okay, we'll give you $39,000 for that property. $1,000 will be for our fee. So on that type of a tape, that type of an acquisition, you just build in a fee to into each door, and we negotiate that case by case. If you are bidding on, let's say, a larger tape, let's see which one of the larger tapes. I profiled Georgia 63, for example. On that tape, it's going to be $3 million. We're going to try to get a couple points on that. That's a reasonable fee for a $3 or $4 million tape. If you can get 2 or 3 points on something like that, then you share it. Now, this is how we do it. This is what me and Phil's policy is. If whatever the fees are, if the seller pays the point and the buyer pays 2 points, for example, that's 3%. That should be split 50-50, buyer side, seller side. So if you're on this buyer side, for example, you should get 1.5%. That would be your fee. We would get 1.5%. We believe that it should just be split straight down the middle. So whatever the fees are, it gets thrown into the mush pot. The total universe of fees are just thrown in together, and they're split 50-50. Now, for example, let's say, and this is how you eliminate the broker chain and how we can all live and work together in this world. If you're in a broker chain, it just goes like this. If you're in a broker chain and you've got 3 people on your side that delivered the buyer to the table, then your 1.5 gets split 3 ways. Our side still gets 1.5 points. If I've got 5 people on my side that I got to pay, that's my problem. But if you've got 3 people on your side, you got to pay them. That comes out of your 1.5%. For me and Phil, if we're direct, we're going to get that full 1.5 points that, of course, Phil and I then split. But to me, the fair way to handle funds is simply this. We all agree that whatever fees are paid by both sides, it goes into one pot, and it gets split 50-50, split between who brought the buyer and who brought the seller. That's how fees should work. Next question. If you're watching this on YouTube, feel free to call me with any questions, and don't forget to subscribe. Yet, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Okay, next question here is, what other markets do you get properties in, and do you get multifamily? Great question. You know, we get properties all over the country. We tell people all the time, when people call and say, you know, what kind of property do you get? I say, well, what kind of property are you trying to buy? For those that haven't figured this out yet, this is a buyer's market right now. This is not a seller's market right now. The funds, for the most part, have stopped buying single-family turnkey property. What has that done? It's created a whole lot of inventory. What does that do? It means you've got motivated sellers. What does that mean? It means prices are about the same or lower than they were a year ago. You can cherry pick from a dozen different markets, and you know, based on what you're looking to buy, you can get some really super great deals. You're also going to see that apply through the rest of this year. This time of year always brings a flurry of sales, simply because sellers will be wanting to get inventory off their books by the end of the year for tax reasons. It's a great time to get deals. But the key for us is understanding what your inventory is now, or excuse me, what your buying criteria is now. Multifamily. We do get multifamily. Multifamily, especially the small ones, the duplexes and triplexes. To give you an example, I probably should have profiled this. I've got a 6-plex right now that's all Section 8. It's got close to a 20% cap in Birmingham. I've got a couple of triplexes in St. Louis. I've got a duplex, I believe, in St. Louis in the 8 part of town. Those types of properties have gotten harder to find, simply because the sellers that have those are money makers, man, and they don't like giving them up. When they do, they don't like giving discounts on them. The ones that you want to look for in the multifamily range and the smaller side are the ones that have been recently rehabbed and rented out. Those are typically done by a wholesaler, and their whole game was to sell them. But when a guy has it, like for example, I've got a guy with a 4-plex in Dallas, a great 4-plex, awesome property, but he wants 90% of value for it. And so you can acquire it, but you're not going to get a great deal on it. So, but we do get multifamily. And yes, there's a lot of inventory we did not put on our screen. That's why I've left our contact information up here so you can contact us directly with regards to your buying criteria. The next question is, Charlie, do you have a problem in signing off my non-disclosure agreement if I have a buyer? I think I just said that, but I'll say it again. We have no issues in doing that. You know, we're not here to steal your buyers or your sellers. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to be a conduit. And this YouTube channel that we're launching today is going to be a part of that channel for you to be able to see what's available. But again, if we're going to work with you, you've got to follow our protocol. You can't hide your seller or buyer behind a curtain. You've got to bring them to the forefront. If you want to get deals done, you got to be able to put the parties together. But as far as signing stuff, you know, we have a printer office for one thing, and that's to print NDAs and sign them and send them to people. So we have no problem doing that. Just send us what you want to sign. We'll be glad to sign off. We've gone 30 minutes, which is 10 minutes longer than I wanted to go. I want to point out that what I intend to do with these webinars, or our YouTube channel webinars, is to do these once or twice a week, and we're going to profile our inventory. The purpose will be for you to be able to go through these tapes, notify us via email, phone call. I even gave you my cell phone to text me. That's not a horrible way to get a hold of me. Tell me the tape you're looking for, and we'll be glad to send that tape off to you. We're going to be adamant in the future about taking these tapes and wallpapering them on LinkedIn. We're just drawing a hard and fast line in the sand. For those buyers that are on today, and I see a bunch of you, I know you dig that. You appreciate that. You appreciate the fact that you're going to get something that is going to be mass marketed all over town. We are going to make an effort to draw a line in the sand when it comes to these tapes getting mass marketed out there and people selling these tapes that have no right to be selling them. But again, we're willing to work with you. You just got to contact us, and we'll be glad to tell you how we can do that. So with that, that is our first YouTube channel webinar. Be on the lookout. You'll be getting this YouTube invitation to your inbox. When you get that, hit subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Matt is guiding me through this. Hit the subscribe button, and that will get you instant notification. Every time I do one of these, you'll be able to see the inventory, see what's available. Contact us, and let's make 2016 a great year, everybody. Thanks for being on today. We'll hope to talk to you soon. There was another question here. What is the YouTube channel name? Frenchie, you'll find out tonight. That Matt says you'll find out tonight. We haven't named it yet, but we will. You'll be able to subscribe directly from the video. We haven't thought of a name yet. So if anybody's got any clever names for our YouTube channel video, you can send that to me at my email address. We'll be happy to hear your suggestions, but we'll find something to name it. But it'll be on the, just hit subscribe. Whatever it is, it'll be on the link. So everybody have a great day. God bless everybody. We'll hope to talk to you soon.